Welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Next. I like to say life has a way of changing our plans, the ones we never planned to change. My guest today is a shining example of rolling with those changes. He started off in the really rough parts of Chicago as a twin. He made his way to the military very early, Army, Navy, and retiring from the Air Force. He has a bachelor's in cinematic arts and a master's in cinema production. He has worked as a volunteer at the Sundance Institute and has been a post-production coordinator on many shows like Snowfall, Chief of War, and many others. He's worked at Netflix, at Fox, and FX in post-production, but he was my assistant in 2020 when he wandered into my office through an introduction. We worked together on a big production after that for a year, and boy, that was an experience. He was great. He has since absorbed the changing landscape in Hollywood and made his pivot. He moved to Dallas, opened a production company, and is now a flight attendant for the friendly skies for United Airlines. I'm so excited to catch up with him. His name's Devon Edwards, and let's go meet my friend. Hi, welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Next. I am your host, Carrie with my dear friend, Devon Edwards, right next to me today. I am so grateful. This man has changed my life. When he wandered into my office in 2020 through an introduction, and he probably thought nothing would come of it, but I grabbed him and took him onto my show and kept him there with me by my side, fighting my battles every day. And boy, he had his armor at the door. He's an amazing journey because he started out in the really rough parts of Chicago as a twin, made his way to the military, has a bachelor's degree in cinematic arts, a master's in cinema production. He's unbelievable. I'll let him tell you where he's at now because he has a way of rolling with the punches like nobody else. This man is a decorated veteran, and he's my hero well before the militaries. Hi, Devon. Thank you so much for doing my little podcast here. Thank you.
Man, thank you for having me, and what an introduction. I hope I live up to the hype.
We had a really interesting start. You wandered in. I know you were scared to death going, what am I going to tell this lady to make her hire me? And thinking, I know you left that day going, well, she's really nice.
I did. I thought, another one bites the dust. Walk out the office. I'll probably never hear from her, and I'll just keep trugging along whatever it was that I was doing. So yeah, but then I got that call. So
There you go. I knew it.
yeah.
I knew a good one when I saw it, and I was like, hey, you want to come to Crazy Town?
Yeah, that's exactly what you said too. And I was like, yes.
Good luck with this one because it's not going to be easy. We survived. That was rough. I did a post recently talking about how difficult dealing with some of the actor personalities were and the showrunner. Every show has its roughness. That one was particularly rough because it was really COVID. We were asked to come to work when the whole world was behind locked doors. There were no executives and no producers around, and it was just us. We had to navigate everything the best we could.
Yeah.
Was a big experience for you. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was interesting because I was working as a health and safety supervisor for Disney at the time, and like just being the COVID police, and I was saying how I didn't like it because I'm making more enemies than I'm making connections, because the only thing they see me, when they see me, they see someone who, oh, he's coming to shut down this part of production or not allow us to do whatever it is that we feel necessary to do. I was like, nah, this can't be right. So I said, let me just hurry up and jump off this train and like get on something else. I was ever so thankful and grateful that the introduction was made, that I was able to come and sit and talk to you. And I had my fingers crossed, and I was just like, well, I'll just work this until something else pop up. And then I got the calls. I had a blast, even with the challenges that we faced on that show. I learned a great deal. I know I didn't ask a lot of questions, but my military training has always taught me to be observant, just observe, and just ask questions as a last resort. Try to figure it out on your own first, and then as a last resort. And I mean, but you laid out the roadmap so easily. And for those that listen, this woman has a calculator, calculus, trigonometry. I don't know, one of those special calculators in her brain, because the way she does numbers, she can look at an amort one time or a budget one time and just know the numbers. And she does this thing. She takes a pencil, she licks her fingers and touch the page and use the pencil to turn the page exactly where she needs to go, circle this and say, okay, we can move this around. I was completely blown away by that. I don't know how she does it, but yeah, it was a great time. I had a great time.
I treated you on that. It wasn't that I assumed you knew, you just had to know. And if you didn't, you were gonna fake it. And I dumped on you so much high-end responsibility. Read this, explain this to me. I have many plates in the air, making all the deals, settling the budget and locking it in, hiring everybody, dealing with the COVID, the cast situations, and the showrunner demands. In my mind, I had to treat you like you knew what I was saying in a shorthand without me having to go, let me explain to you what this document is. You better figure it out. I don't have time
Yeah.
to teach anybody. And I knew you were bright enough and you were also hungry enough. You wanted this so badly and
Yeah.
you didn't even show me how badly, but I knew that I'm just going to dump on this guy. He's going to learn more from me in this period of time than he's going to learn ever.
Great job too, because it was like with the director's deal memos, the handling of the table reads for all the actors. I was like, oh wait, you want me to do what? And she was like, okay, whenever it comes to anything table reads with the actor, that is Devon. And I was like, wait a second, I have no idea. And it was great, but I had to
Right.
like
So
use.
explaining in a table read, you read through the script. So all the actors, and by the way, we're doing this on Zoom,
Yeah,
and all the actors, so like their character's name will say their part, but in between it will say they walk together down the street hand in hand, and then lightning strikes.
yeah,
And Devon was in charge of reading that at the table reads and in front of movie stars and in front of
yeah,
studio executives. And he was like, what have you got me into? And I was like, just read
yeah,
it.
yeah. Then I
That's
had
all.
to like
Yeah.
contact their agents and their managers, do their
Mhm.
manage the schedule. I was like, oh, okay. And
Right.
then some had problems with like navigating the Zoom, and then I had to figure out how do I give them instructions on their Zoom right when we get ready to start. So appreciative of that opportunity. This is my time to shine. I thought I did pretty well with the first one. And so yeah, it was great. But it helped me too in my jobs after that. When I moved on, when the show ended, I was so confident. Oh, you would have been so proud of me with how I handled ADR and scheduling for this TV show Chief of War that I worked on, because I was handling like juggling 4 time zones, New Zealand, Canada, Hawaii, and LA, and trying to get everybody on at the exact same time. Carrie was so proud and I learned
Well,
all that from working with
I
you.
was
So
already proud. It was a very interesting situation because we were on the Warner Brothers lot in the middle of COVID, and you had to go through such a regime to get cleared for COVID. You had to
yeah,
go to this space age looking parking lot where everybody was in a hazmat suit and you had to drive up with your car window open this much and put your nose in the air and they'd stick a tube up your nose. You do the COVID test and then you had to wait to be cleared. Then you would pull up to the gate at Warner Brothers and your phone, you would go to the app on the phone and either you had a green light or a red light. And if you had a red light, you could not pass. It was like the war zone,
Yeah.
and everybody was masked and covered, and we had so much fun because there weren't too many other people on the lot, but we had golf carts, and we were just running all over the place, and we
Yeah.
had endless amounts of gourmet food. We had so much fun. They were long days. There were some
Yeah.
days that we were there for 18 hours and had to be back the next day. It was such a baptism by fire. I was like,
Yeah.
"Devon, here you go. We're getting into this deep."
Or
I recently did a post about diversity and making sure that and one thing you can speak of is that I always have a balanced crew. It's
Mhm.
really sad to me, and you worked for me. I didn't
Mhm.
hire you going, "Okay, check, got somebody of color, we're good." My whole crew was balanced, and I always made sure of that. And I recently went up for a job, and they didn't hire me. They wouldn't give me an interview because I had to prove I was of color. Very interesting, and I was like, for the first time in my life that that came back against me when I am such a cheerleader, without even trying, without even thinking about it. I hired the best, period, whoever it is, and this time they wouldn't even give me the interview. How about
Mm.
that? Which is sad
Yeah.
to me that people have to be told. I don't know. I hired you because you were the best. I mean, nobody else even came close to what I needed and wanted, and I had such a good time with you. We would laugh and sing. I would always
Yes,
entertain
yes.
you. You'd be like, "Oh
Yeah.
god, there she goes again." And I'd have
Yeah.
a room full of people, holding court in my office, and you'd be like, "There she goes again.
Yeah, I
There
think
she
it's
goes."
important for me to say and make note that at no point whatsoever that I feel as if, I was a quote unquote DEI hire or what have you. I mean,
Because
I
you
mean, in fact,
weren't.
I don't even. It never
Right.
felt like color was even a factor. I just want to really stress that, and I felt like part of. I didn't feel like, okay, well, this is just another guy that's just working this position. I felt like I was part of the team or the family and environment that you created. So I just think that's just important to like make that clear that I really felt um there was no second guessing, or I felt welcome, and you definitely made me feel like I was really, to this day, I say you were one of the best bosses that I've had in the 8 years that I had worked in the industry in LA.
I do, and I love it because I get to work with people like you, but I pray that people walk away going, "She was the best." All I ever wanted was for us to be able to do it again. And as the
Hmm.
years went by and COVID went by and Hollywood just started to, no joke, like erode like a terrible ocean property. It started to fall into the ocean. I just kept thinking, when am I going to be able to hire him again? When is somebody going to hire me again? And my next job was out of the country, and we never got to do it again, and we had
Yeah.
such a great time. I mean,
Yeah.
the laughs that we would have, which is part of what I do, is
Hmm.
I create a family where everybody is really appreciated and loved for all their differences. I mean, we had quite a cast of characters, in that office. I have so much fun bringing in food, having fun and dancing, and by the way, that was a time where even in an office, we were supposed to stay apart. We're in a bubble here. We're gonna be fine. And getting called by security, remember Courtney snuck her boyfriend in, and I was every day I'm getting called for some other crazy thing. An actress with the little girl came down with COVID, and it was
Yeah.
not an easy show. And I tried to just be lighthearted. We're just going to have fun here because we are the luckiest people on the planet.
Yeah.
You actually went on to do some other kind of cool jobs, but they were not for long term, right? What did you
No.
do?
After this show, I did a small stint for the Radical Media for the Super Bowl halftime commercial that they did with Dr. Dre. Then after that, I did a post coordinator position for Ripley that aired on Netflix, and then Snowfall. And then I got hired as a post production manager at Mar Vista, working on Tubi Originals. So I was managing post for Tubi Originals, which I really enjoyed it. I thought that was going to be a long lasting position, but unfortunately, they were going through. I got hired in November of 23, and April of 24, they were talking about restructuring, and we would have our creative meetings, all the executives. I would ask the question like, well, when you say restructuring, I said I was at Disney when Disney acquired 20th Century, and they talked about restructuring. Quite a few of us got let go. So I was like, when I hear restructuring, I hear layoffs. And I was like, I'm one of the newest hires. Do I need to start looking for a position? And of course, get the politically correct answers like, well, we don't know for sure right now. We're just going to take it day by day. Come July, I had like several shows that I was responsible for, and I was making the final delivery on my final film to the network. I thought, well, I was going into the office to have a meeting with my supervisor to talk about the expectations for our next fiscal year. But as I went to the conference room, HR was there, and I was unfortunately one of the ones that was part of the restructuring, and I was let go. But I bounced back on my feet rather quickly, and took a
You
post
always do.
coordinator
You always do.
took a post coordinating position for chief of war at Apple TV. And I worked for post producer Greg Spence, which was fantastic. I absolutely loved that show. It was a lot for me to juggle. I was responsible for quite a bit. And then once that show ended, Fox, I went and worked on Love Island for a small
I didn't
stint.
know that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a big
worked.
Love not US. Because I don't have a Paramount Plus, but I love
Yeah, but it was like Love Island Beyond the Villa. I worked a couple of weeks, and then I got hired back at Fox as an associate producer for promotions and marketing under a contractual position for like 6 months. And then after the 6 months, they want to extend you, they would. But at that particular time, some personal things took place with my wife. You know, she had to have brain surgery. And there was just like a lot of family personal things that was taking place. And then the cost of living was just getting a little bit high. And I didn't like too much being an associate producer because I didn't know anything about promotions and marketing. I was grateful for the position. I learned a great deal, but it wasn't my passion. And with things that was taking place in my home life, we just made the decision to relocate to Dallas, Texas. And we left Los Angeles after 9 years of being there, and moved to Dallas, Texas, where we've been living now almost 3 months. Yeah, October. Yeah, 3 months now. I had to pivot again because there are no production jobs in Dallas. I went to a film commission mixer or meetup, and one I have to be a Texas resident for like 120 days before I
Yep,
can work on a project. And the
yep.
project, I worked at Amazon as an Amazon delivery driver for 3 days, but that was too taxing on my body. I got hired at Walmart as a stocker, and then I worked at Best Buy. And then a cousin of mine who works for United Airlines, you know, she was like, Devon, you would be great, you know, as a flight attendant.
That's
Yeah, but
the perfect job for you.
she talked me into it, and currently in that started the very first week of November. I started this class, and so I'm 3 classes ahead, and I'm just now wrapping up week 3, about to go into week 4, which is all about validations. And so we have a big exam tomorrow, and then we got validations on emergency evacuation, arming, disarming, you know, the doors for a Boeing 737. And then the weeks after that, we learn all the other airplane doors and arming and disarming procedures and other things that goes into being a flight attendant. And I have to say, I was like, wow, I was thoroughly impressed with, you know, how much goes into being a flight attendant, you know. And I said, never again will I ever disrespect a flight attendant and say, oh, all you do is just push a cart and
No,
deliver
I
drinks.
I I never would think that, especially in these days where
Yeah.
people are, like, trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Like, they're like a
Yeah.
moving target. this whole landscape is about the pivot, and you're
Yeah.
a perfect guest because you you just keep pivoting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have tried to go on staff, except they're laying off everybody. I applied, by the way, for the Colorado Film Commissioner position. They
Mm.
were looking for somebody, but they don't even respond. Why? Listen, I don't live in Colorado, so I wasn't wholly optimistic about that. And this is not a world that we recognize anymore. I'm glad we're not young because we had our run. We
Yeah.
had our in Hollywood, and we're very lucky. And I don't know what will happen next. By the way, my agent keeps calling. Well, I'm going to put you up. And then just the day before this whole HBO Warner Brothers getting bought, I got called and she's like, "Oh, I just mentioned you to HBO again." I was like, "Well, now they're going to be gone. They're going to be
Yeah.
Netflix." So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's interesting
Yes.
to watch the landscape now because I still read the trades. I still keep my ear to the street. I just
Yeah.
see all the different acquisitions, United Airlines and Paramount, Netflix and Warner Brothers, as you mentioned. Just the advent of artificial intelligence. Because before I left Fox, the director of programming made it a mandate that we all learn like AI, and so we had to like learn how to do then they would start to initiate an AI protocol with the company, and everybody was going to get an opportunity to learn, certain aspects of it. They had like a certain Chat GPT type thing at Fox, and people started to learn how to use that. And the only thing I could think of was like, man, the different jobs that was going to be lost because, and incidentally or coincidentally, um, when I was a post manager at Mar Vista, we were introduced to an AI system where that will replace the DIT, the digital imaging technician. So I no longer needed somebody on set to process the data from the camera and send it to the post team. All I needed is this box that this guy, and it was Constellation or Post Mechana, what it was called. All it has to do is just stay connected to the main hard drive and keep a Wi-Fi signal, and then it will process all the dailies
The
like
dailies.
in real
And you wanna
time.
know what? I got contacted by somebody on LinkedIn asking me if
Mhm.
I wanted a demonstration of AI budgeting and scheduling. Now you
Yeah,
work for me. I do that by hand. I have to take that thing apart like a surgeon.
right.
And I wrote them back and said, I'm curious to see it, but if that would replace that piece of my job." And he wrote, "But it's such a time saver." And I go, "That's my job is time."
Yeah.
I don't think you ever heard me say, "I need more time." I don't need more time.
Mhm.
I need all the details humanly possible because when they go, "Remember the shoelace?"
Yeah.
And if I
Yeah.
had a computer doing that, I don't even know what I would do. Look, I'm sitting in the dark now. My gosh, goodness.
Yeah,
Um,
and see now they have Opus Clip, Descript,
yeah.
Sora
Mhm.
2 that I mean
Yeah.
that generates. I was telling somebody like they do TikTok stuff on TikTok, and she was like, "Oh yeah, all I have to do is just record this one long video." And I was like, "Yeah, and Descript will automatically, section it off and create, your little clips that you can post, and then it will post it for you." And I was like, "This is crazy." So even if I wanted to go back to being a post editor, like I started off like many years ago as an assistant editor, it's already an AI that's doing my job for me, so they wouldn't even need me. So it's like I had
It's
no
the
choice.
saddest. But that's all really the underbelly of this thing. We don't understand what's going on, like aliens taking over. That's the part we don't understand, like what's going on. That's the answer. Is that it's a slow conversion taking over our Earth, the only Earth we ever knew. It's the saddest thing I have witnessed in my lifetime. It's like watching something slowly die. You
Yeah,
know, so well, my dear, dear friend, I'm sitting in the dark. I want to tell you I adore you. I'm proud of you. I'm
thank you.
grateful you are in my life still. And I look forward to flying the friendly skies with you. I want to thank my guest, Devon Edwards, who is my hero, who is an American hero as a veteran, who is a man of his word, a believer in faith, and always keeps me grounded knowing that nothing will ever hurt me. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. This is What the Heck Next. My name is Carrie Morrow. Please like, follow, listen, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, LinkedIn, wherever. And come see me when I'm not sitting in the dark. I adore you.
I adore
Much
you as
luck.
well.
Let me know how it goes.
Will do. Absolutely.